Hi, this is Lenora Lasser of Lenora Pours, and you definitely don't want to miss next pouring session. We are going to have an amazing time. We're going to talk about a variety of things. So make sure that you like and share this pouring session. And not only that, if you're on Facebook, tag a few of your friends. If you're on other social media platforms, send the link to your family and friends. I'm telling you, the sessions that we have, they are empowering, they're motivating, they're inspiring, and they're life-changing. Again, make sure that you share this upcoming podcast. Take care. All right. Good evening, everyone. And thank you all so much for tuning in to tonight's podcast. Listen, we are going to have an amazing conversation. Y'all know I always say that, but we really do. We really do. Here in the Lenora Pours pouring community, we have great conversations. And tonight I have some amazing guests with us on tonight. But let me tell you, if you're on LinkedIn, if you're on YouTube, if you're on Facebook, go ahead and like and share this pouring session on tonight. I have two great young men in our community who will be pouring on tonight. We have no other than Joshua Dawson. Say hello, Joshua, to the audience tonight.
Hello.
All right, Joshua, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And we also have Mike Randall. Mike, say hello to the audience on tonight.
How you doing, everybody?
All right. Thank you, gentlemen, so much. And we already have some people tuned in. So y'all know I love to acknowledge my audience. So whoever tuned in, make sure to type your name, or you don't even type your name. All you have to do is say like, good evening, I'm here, so that I can acknowledge you. And we do have Mabel Williams. She is on tonight. Mabel said, good evening, Mabel. Thank you so much for joining and tuning in tonight. We also have Tiff, which is Mike's wife. Thank you so much, Tiffany, for tuning in on tonight. Again, you all, if you are watching us tonight, go ahead and like and share this podcast with your family and your friends. We also have Nika Hunt. Good evening, Nika. Thank you so much for tuning in on tonight. Thank you so much for joining us on tonight pouring session. So Mike and Joshua, just to start this conversation off, how was your day, Mike? We're going to start with you, and of course we're going to go next to Joshua. So hello, Joshua. Thank you so much. I'm sorry, Joshua, hold on. We have Monica, that's DeMonica, that's who I call her. Hello, thank you so much for tuning in on tonight, DeMonica. Thank you so much for tuning in on tonight. So, Mike,
yes,
tell us, how was your day?
It was very good.
Good.
God is awesome.
Good.
It's just a blessing to be on this podcast, and it's an honor to be on this podcast, and just overall, just a great day hanging out with my wife and just quality time.
Good. Love that. Nothing like spending quality time with the person that you love and that you said I do with.
Right.
Because
That's
if
right.
you don't, guess what?
That's right.
That wife would give you a little nudge like, hey, Mike, listen now, we need to do something.
Yes,
So it's good to hear that you
Yes,
spent
ma'am.
some quality time. All right,
Absolutely.
Joshua, how was your day today?
Well, my day today was pretty decent. Woke up this morning with my health, so I'm pretty happy today. Got to exercise with a beautiful sister of mine, Miss Lassiter. We knocked out 8 miles this morning, so it was pretty good. We knocked it out in good time, so had a pretty relaxed and chill day today.
Good stuff. Because listen, I know it's so important for you all to really really enjoy your days, because both of you are educators. So you have to maximize and leverage the days that you all have for the summer. And of course, like Joshua said, let me just give y'all a little inside information. He pushes me along with my mother. And they push me like, okay, Lenore, you got to get your walk in, because y'all, let me tell you something. If you don't know, now you know. Glory. So let me just tell you this. I love food like probably most people. So of course, we indulge when we eat. that scale starts to creep up just a tad bit. So I knew I had to start doing something. And of course, if I like to eat, I'm just going to balance it off with a little bit of walking. So they pushed me. And initially, I'm like, you know what, 4 miles, that's it. But lately, they've been pushing me. And I've been doing 8 miles, and it feels good to give me a boost of energy and everything. So, but enough about me. It's about you guys on tonight and pouring on tonight to our audience. So, both of you guys, as I stated, you all are in education. So, whichever one wants to go first, I'm not even going to call a name, but talk about the importance of having a male presence within the education system. Whichever one of you want to take it first, and then whoever answered, and the next one can go. So, talk about that.
Okay.
So Dawson.
Look, I do this. Uh, I would say the importance of having a male educator is very important. I would say um, it made a big impact in my life during my time in school. Those are the ones I gave a hard time to as well. But
Okay.
when I look back, you know, when I look back after so many years of, doing what I'm doing, that like they was my biggest inspiration to this day.
Mm,
I'm gonna shout him out, Mr. Danny Pettigrew. That he taught
yeah.
at TC Bear in my fourth grade year, and
Hmm.
Mr. Joseph Johnson. He
Wow.
taught me sixth grade and at Ree Ross, I say elementary, Ree Ross Middle School, and to this day that they still, check on me and see how I'm doing and things like that. But just having them there, taking out
Hmm.
time because a lot of people don't have that male role model, which I do as well. Shout out to my pops, but it's
Hmm.
always good to have that extra male role model while you're in school because at the end of the day, it's some things you can talk about them that you can't talk about with the females. So it's always good to get a
Mm.
male perspective on situations as well.
Oh, wow, Josh. Well, I love that. I love that. And we're going to get you, Mike, real quick, but let me just read these two additional comments that came here. Melissa is on. Hello, Melissa. Thank you so much for tuning in. Melissa said, hello, teachers. So she just wanted to speak to you all on tonight. Also, Wilma Williams is on. Thank you so much, Wilma, for tuning in tonight. She said, hello. Hello, Wilma. Thank you so much for tuning in on tonight. Now, Joshua, you said some really powerful things in just, those few minutes. But before I unpack what you stated, let me just flow right into Mike. So, Mike, go ahead and answer that question.
Um, and I think just to piggyback on what Joshua said, it's very important. Um, I have my dad. He former Army, retired Army, 24 years. Taught me a lot. Taught me how sports. My brother and I, we constantly talked. From a youth until even now. In my late 30s, and so that impact, um,
Mhm.
the presence of
Mm.
my father in the home, I know for a fact has yielded great benefits um, for me. And
Mhm.
as I grew up as a teenager and into
Mhm.
adulthood, and he would always teach me, little things, just keep, how to keep money in your pocket,
Mhm.
how to take care of your family, how to, take care of your business and, walk with a purpose.
Mm.
So that in itself, having a male presence is very important.
Mm.
Um, I got to give a shout out to my spiritual father, Apostle Marvin Gregory.
Good.
Um, also teaches me a lot. Um, so it's very important. It's
Mhm.
something about a male presence for a young man or a young lady that makes an impact on that individual. Um, I just did recently a internship
Okay.
um, at Reed Ross for my principalship, and so
Mhm.
I teamed up with I forgot the position, but it's sort of like a resource officer, uh,
Okay.
but more like in the school. So he's not like law enforcement.
Mhm.
But we started talking about um, having like a boys mentoring group.
Okay.
Have on Fridays the boys will come in, they'll
Mhm.
wear blazers or some
Mm.
sneakers, um, we would and constantly in the hallways talking to them and kind of mentoring them. And it just became this big thing during lunchtime where they would come in and they would just sit down and we would just talk about
Mm.
anything. Mr. Dawson and I, since the time that he got to Asheville Elementary, I mean, we hit it off, and we were just talking about, the importance of men in the classrooms and the
Right,
impact that we're going to have. And
right.
so it was just awesome. It's just awesome.
Good, good. So listening to both of you all, Joshua was able to basically state the names of the male teachers that had an impact in his life. Even at his age, and I won't tell his age, but even at his age, he was able to remember. So that in itself, to me and to others, it illuminates the essence of having a male in the education system, a male in the classroom. It speaks volume. And like he stated, he said, listen, I had my father. He still, have his father. We have the same father. Of course, if you all don't know, that's my baby brother, Joshua Dawson. He's my baby brother. But it's so important still to have that male presence in the classroom. And a lot of children are not even fortunate to have a male figure in the household. So to have it in the classroom, to me, is very impactful. And then listening to you, Mike, you relished on the fact of having your father in your life and how he made an impact on your life. So again, I wanted this particular month, and I would continue to have male guests, of course, but I wanted this month to focus on men and males and the the power that you all possess and the influence that you all possess and how you all can make a very positive impact in the classroom and also outside of the classroom. And also, I want to talk about a little bit more, Mike, in regards to this mentorship program that you were talking about for these young people. So, we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But I have a question for both of you all, and we can start with Joshua on this question. What would you say have been one of the greatest challenges that you faced as being a male educator within the system, education system? What has been one of your challenges?
Um, Trying to think, have I have faced the challenge? Let me quit playing. But I would say more of behavior,
Okay.
kind of to the sort behavior, and then it kind of intertwined with academics
Mm,
because most of the kids act up when they don't understand something. So if they don't
wow.
understand something, they want to draw attention from everybody else that's learning. So it's like you have to like pick and like slice and dice that person and
Mm,
figure out what exactly are they not um, picking up in the classroom. Because once you figure out what that problem is, you have less behavior problems. Also, like
Josh, that was powerful. I love that. Slice and dice. But go ahead. I hope I didn't mess up your train of
no,
thought.
no,
I'm
you're
sorry. I just
fine.
had a pull. That was, yeah, that was pretty dope. But go ahead.
Yes, man, you're fine. But with that, you pick what they need to work on.
Mm,
After that, the behavior issues goes down. And a lot of times, a lot of people have behavior issues because they just want attention because they're not
mm,
getting it at home. And I run across that a lot in the classroom. If they don't
mm.
get your attention, they act up in the classroom. But if so many students was if one person do it, then everybody else be like, well, if he can get Mr. Dawson's time and he can take him out, or if he can eat with him, but I'm gonna act up too because I want his attention too. So it's
Wow.
like you have to spread the love all the way around. So we had about 40 plus, almost 50 third graders this year. And
Okay.
so it's just like you have to know how to spread the love amongst everybody. So you won't figure out like some kids be like, well, Mr. Dawson got his favorites. I always tell them when I came in the classroom, I don't have favorites. So they knew Mr. Dawson never had favorites, but they knew that Mr. Dawson did love everybody the same. So at the end of
Right.
the day, they knew like, well, Mr. Dawson picking and choose who he wanted to be around him, this, that, and the third. But they know I act the same amongst all of them. So yeah.
I love it. I love it. Mike, I'm going to get you to answer this question too. But guess what, Mike? We got some more people who tuned in and we got to recognize them because some of these people, Mike, you may know. So let me just read these additional comments really quickly. Brianna is on and she said, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Brianna. Thank you so much for joining and tuning in on tonight. Christopher Calandra Gregory is on and he states, this individual states, thanks for the invite, Tiff and Mike Randall. I am working with a group called Men of Kenneth here in Huntsville who offers scholarships to minority men who want to become teachers at Athens State University. This is an important conversation. Yes, Christopher. Yes, yes. Is this Huntsville, Alabama? Christopher, if you can, just put that in the chat so I know. This is amazing. So, individuals, if you're watching, if you watch the replay here, male minorities, they are looking for teachers and they are offering scholarships. So, again, this is a very important conversation. Brianna says, oh, look at Joshua looking all studious. Brianna, listen. So come on here cutting up. Don't come on here cutting up. Let's
Yeah.
no, I love it. I love it. He does look studious on tonight, Brianna. Okay. I think this is Jay. Of course, he comes and he, pop up and make a comment. And sometimes we don't recognize it. Just says Facebook user, but I'm taking a chance. I think this is Jay Dwayne Garnett. He said, Peeps, what's up? What's up, Jay? Thank you so much for tuning in. Tiff, she just made a comment. She said, hello, hello. You're welcome, Christopher Gregory. Yes, yes, this is an important conversation. Sherry said, great job, Josh. This is Sherry, big sister. I'm sorry, this is Joshua, big sister, everyone. Sherry, she is Joshua, big sister. William Elliott is on. Hello, William. Good evening. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining us on tonight. And as I always said, every single podcast, like and share it, y'all. I'm telling you, we have a really good conversation. Okay, Mike, enough of me talking. Back to you. Can you answer that question for me?
Wow. And that's a really good question. So while Josh was
What
talking,
are the challenges?
yeah, and as Josh was talking, I was trying to, think about what challenges I've faced.
Mhm.
Um, and, I've been in education for going on about 15 years.
Wow.
Um, and it's all elementary grades. I would agree with Joshua. It's discipline. Um,
Mm.
it's understanding where that child is growing up, their environment,
Mm.
not only the neighborhood but also the atmosphere in the home. So that plays a big part in their behavior when they get to school.
Mm.
And I know Josh and I, we work closely together
Mhm.
with elementary school students, and we sometimes we would have to tag team, in certain, certain individuals. But I would say it's discipline, and just like Joshua said, it's slicing and dicing. It's really getting to know the heart of that child.
Mhm.
You don't know if that child has lost their parent the day before. We don't know what their
Mhm.
um, environment outside the classroom is.
Mhm.
So it really takes a strong individual, a caring individual, to take a deep dive into that child's mind and get to know that individual, so that when you have to discipline them, they don't take it as, oh, he hates me. It's,
Right.
oh, I get it. He's just trying to. I may not get it now, but okay, I don't like that he disciplined me, but okay, Mr. Dawson, or okay, Mr. Randall. So it's
Yeah.
that type of, it's a relationship
Great.
that's important. So I would say absolutely the same thing as discipline and just getting to know the child.
Wow. This conversation here just shows to the world, because y'all know we worldwide over here at Lenore Pours. This shows to the world how men are very in tune to what's going on with children. Wholesome men, strong men, men of morals, men of integrity. They can recognize that when a child is acting out, I heard Joshua stated that sometimes when they don't understand or when they don't know something, they act out. Or when they desire attention, they act out. And then I hear you, Mike, state, hey, we don't know what is going on in that child's home for the reason that they are acting out. But because you all possess that empathy, you're able to empathize with them and you're able to relate and say, you may can't actually relate meaning have been through what they've been through, but empathy will allow you to relate to a certain point, saying, okay, this child is dealing with something, as you stated, Michael, earlier, something deeper. And then both of you all utilize the cliche slice and dice. You look at an apple and you're like, oh my goodness, the apple kind of something's looking wrong with this apple, but the outside kind of look okay, but you see some specks. But in order to see if the apple is really, really good, what do? You slice and you dice it to see what's going on. And just listening to you all, you both do an amazing job in dealing with young people. I'm not in the classroom with you, but just hearing your conversation is just letting me know that you all do a wonderful job with the youth. We have some comments coming in, so let me read these comments, gentlemen, here. Christopher said it is. Tiff said, yes, Mr. Randall. Mr. Randall is so proud. Well said. Well said. I absolutely agree. Brianna said, such a great conversation this evening. I absolutely agree, Brianna. It is a really great conversation. Roger also said, good evening. Good evening, Roger. Thank you so much for tuning in. Now, you all have both been, and Joshua still is, you are in the elementary school. Joshua is, and I know, Mike, you've kind of transitioned out from the elementary school, but still, talk about the importance of having a male at the elementary school to be influential to children at such a young age. And it may seem like you're repeating yourself, but it's not. Just talk about the importance of having a male figure in the life of a young person at the elementary stage.
Well, I would say molding and shaping them, like
Mm-hmm.
sculpting who they are going to become. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Especially, I would say when you kind of look like them,
Mm-hmm.
they, I would say they gravitate more towards you.
Mm.
The thing about me, I guess, because I look very different than the, probably say the average teacher. So
Right.
it's like when they see me, they try to figure out who I am. So a
Okay.
lot of times when I come in the classroom, I just have a regular set face all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
they crack a smile at me sometimes.
Like a poker face?
Yeah, poker
Okay.
face.
Okay.
So yeah, so my main thing is like molding and shaping because they
Okay.
really need that. At that age, third
Mm-hmm.
grade, which I was working with, now they're going to
Mm-hmm.
move to fifth grade. And
Mm-hmm.
so at that age of third grade, they're coming in fresh. And so a lot of
Mm.
times, and that between kindergarten or preschool all the way to second, they don't see a male at all. So when they
Mm.
come to third grade, when they see a male, they try to figure out, oh, what is he about? Or just
Mm.
seeing a nice stern male figure in the hallway.
Right.
A lot of things they might try with a female teacher, but they
Mm-hmm.
won't try with a male teacher
Mm-hmm.
because they see that force right there. They say, okay,
Mm-hmm.
he big, he got muscle. I don't know. you know. So they trying to figure you out. But at the end of the day, like I say, it's like every day is a learning experience. Some days you might go like, you know what, I'm done. Then the next day you come back, you have to come back with a new attitude. Every day is a new process. So
Wow.
what happened yesterday, you have to leave that at home and start a new day, like a new process. So at the end of the day, that kid might have acted up yesterday, but the next day you have to treat them like they didn't do anything yesterday. Give them a fresh start next morning. So that's my,
You
philosophy.
better pour, Dawson. You better pour, Dawson. You go ahead on. Mike, you know you next. But Mike, you know what I
Yes,
do,
ma'am.
right?
Yes,
You know I
ma'am.
gotta read some comments. All right.
Yes, ma'am.
So
Yes, ma'am.
let me read
Yin
these
and
comments
yang.
really
Yin and
quickly here. Harold said, Good evening. Good evening, Harold. Thank you so much for tuning in on tonight. Roderick said, Good stuff, Joshua. Absolutely. Sherry said, My brother is a boss. All right. Christopher said, I would love to hear more from the guests about how to address discipline disparities in the achievement gap. Okay, so we're definitely going to address that. Thank you so much for popping that question in, Christopher, and I will bring that back up as soon as Mike finished answering the other question here. So great question. Malachi is on. He said, "I see you, bro." He sent a little fire emoji there. As Sherry said, Lenora Dawson, last name Red X Dawson looks like. we look alike. Yeah, we do. We do. Yeah, you definitely. I'll listen. If I just pull my hair back, we would look like identical twins, probably. All right. Wilma said, Thank God for these men in the school system. Much needed. God bless both. I definitely agree with you on that, Wilma. That is definitely um, much needed. Brianna stated, Joshua had made an impact in my brother's life, especially with him losing our father at a young age. He looks up to Joshua. Wow. That's powerful. That is really, really powerful, Joshua. That is powerful. Cheryl Ravenel Dawson, another Dawson in the house. She said, Good evening from Florida. Good evening, Cheryl. Thank you so much for tuning in on tonight. Sherry said, You better pour Bishop Dawson. Now, and see, Josh, you're getting a little out of hand. So I'm going to take off the screen.
I'm about to block her.
Right. Christopher said, Morning by morning, new mercies I see. Good word, Joshua. Didn't he pour? Didn't he pour? That's why Sherry called him the bishop, but he just pouring as Joshua Dawson on tonight. All right, Mike, you're up. Go ahead and answer that question for me. Why is it so important for males to be in the educational arena, excuse me, at the elementary stage?
It's crucial. It's at that level, teaching at third, fourth, fifth grade, and Mr. Dawson, he's exactly right. K2, the majority are female. So when a young child sees a male figure, you're automatically seen as a role model.
Right.
They seek the attention of whether their father is in their life. So to be in a household setting in the classroom, there's a sense of being able to relate to that child. There's not a lot of Black males. Throughout my educational career, I've had Caucasian teachers come up to me and say, we need more Black males in the elementary school grades.
Wow, Mike.
And Lenora, I tell you, when that was told to me, it's like my eyes lit up and I almost couldn't speak because I'm in my mind, I'm thinking, wow, this is someone who doesn't look like me, but they recognize the need for Black male figures. So that in itself, and this was a good maybe 10 years ago. And it's just through the years, I hear it every so often.
Right.
And it's so we are a scarcity, a scarce resource in the elementary school grade level. So for me, when I go into the classroom, being a teacher and interning as an administrator, um, just being able to pour into that child, just to sit down with them, talk about sports, talk about how their grades are. What could you do? Relate sports to what they're doing, or life readiness, as we say in the educational arena. So
Mhm.
having a black male who understands the importance of discipline, of order, of uh, being a mentor, a big brother,
Right.
so to speak, it's very important. I was looking at some statistics. As of last year, there's only 2% of teachers are black males in the United States.
2%.
2%.
Wow, Mike.
So what Joshua and I see is the importance of really working together
Mhm.
as a team, as young black men, to pour into the young black boys, the young black girls, even of all races. And we don't just pigeonhole it to just black males or black
Right.
females, but we
Right.
we spread the love. And I love what Mr. Dawson said. We to spread the love, because kids want that attention.
Mhm.
They want it. They're thirsting for that attention, because they want to impress you. It could be, we have kids come in and say, Mr. Randall, I made a touchdown, that last Saturday. And they'll be so excited. They're walking in, they're just bright eyed. And so just to take a few minutes to
Right.
stop what we're doing as teachers and
Mhm.
say, oh man, how'd you do? Did you fake them out? Did you juke them? Did you break their ankle? So when you use that lingo, they're like, yeah, I broke his ankle. And so it's just I've seen this. It's a release
Mm.
of, it's a release of stress off of them, and like this wall is now
Ooh.
broken, because now we're getting deeper into just the academics, the ABCs and 1, 2, 3s of it. I mean, we have a lesson plan for that, but being relational to those kids is so important. So I think the importance of having a black male in the elementary school grades is so vital, because
Yes.
it sets the tone
Mhm.
for really the rest of their educational lives. From
Mm.
elementary to middle to high school. And there
Right.
was another article that I saw that said it's like a catalyst for them to jump into their careers, because now
Mm.
they're seeing a strong male figure in the classroom that's outside of their normal home environment.
You better pour, Randall. You better pour. I like what you I mean, I liked everything you said. And y'all know it well. If y'all don't know, now you know. I like to go back and watch the replay because I be soaking it in. And it's just like so much good information that is given. Mike, you said something about them just coming back from the weekend to tell you about a football game, or that they had, or I'm just going to say a basketball game, whatever sport it is. And you said it's like a release. My gosh, that was powerful. We don't even understand the level of stress and burdens that some of these young children carry every single day into the classroom. And you all are the ones that they look up to help release that burden. And then you said 2%. We have to do something about this in regards to teachers' pay. Because if we can pay these grandeur salaries in other industries, we need more money in our school systems to get teachers so that these teachers can have a positive impact on these young people. And I'm not talking about teaching nonsense. I'm talking about teaching the basic arithmetic, math, whatever, but having that positive influence on these children's lives so they can go and become productive citizens in this world. That was powerful. All right, I'm going to bring that other question back up, Christopher. I did not forget, but we had some other comments coming in here. So I'm going to read these. Brian is on. Hello, Byron. Thank you so much for tuning in on tonight. Thank you so much. And Roderick said, Pastor Dawson, number 2. And Roderick, Joshua did respond to that. And he said, blocked, block. He's going to block you. Too funny. All right. Christina Tillery is on. Thank you so much for Christina for joining. She said, good evening, everyone. God bless you, brothers. Shout out to my brother, Mike. I can vouch that God has graced him to pour into young people. Male teachers must, much like fathers, have an ability to create identity and really shape a young person's life. They're so needed at the elementary level. I totally agree with you, Christina. Totally agree. And I can tell brother Mike, he's the real deal. Because you know what? He wouldn't been the real deal if my brother Joshua wouldn't be like, hey, I want to, what about Mike Randall? Let me, he can be on with me. And that Mike in itself, that spoke volume. It spoke volume and it spoke value, the value that you bring to those children every single day when you enter into those doors. And I like what Joshua said early, even when he mentioned about those children. Some of them may misbehave on a Tuesday, but when you all as educators go in on a Wednesday, you all have to start on a fresh sheet of music, just like giving them the opportunity to start on a fresh sheet of music. So I love that. I love it, love it, love it, love it. Sherry said, Mike, you are pouring tonight. She said Michael, but we know your name is Mike Randall. So Mike, you're pouring tonight. I definitely agree. And then your wife said, wow, Mr. Randall, Mr. Josh, 2%. This is so important as well as educational. It sure is, Tiff. I did not even know that statistic. So I am so glad that Mr. Mike brought it up. All right. Sherry said, I love this conversation. Me too, Sherry. I love it. I love it. I love it. Tiff said, yes, Christina Tiller, God has grace Mike Randall. Boy, I'm telling you, Mike, you got some support up in these comments.
Yeah. So yeah, and that and Tiff is that's Teresa Randall, my wife, and
I know that's your lovely
and Christina, my sister-in-law,
okay.
My wife's older sister. But I have to say this.
Go ahead.
When Mr. Dawson and I, when we first met, and he knows where I'm going with this one.
Okay.
We sat in the hallway, and I think in front of my classroom, and we must have spoke for about 30 to 45 minutes.
Right.
And it was a connection. So and I couldn't do what I do in the classroom without his help. Because and the reason I say that is God has given us the ability, the special gift to reach children.
Yes.
And so when you have two giftings, two anointings put together to be a blessing to the children in the community, in the classroom, it has positive effects.
Yes.
And so it's an honor and a privilege, and I know Joshua feels the same way, just to be able to serve these kids, and that it's a service, it's a servanthood mentality that we have, and that I carry into the classroom, is to serve these children, to prepare them for life. And so we have had many conversations like this, how we can be a powerful impact, a strong influence on these kids. So it's awesome just to be able to do that, to educate. It's one thing to teach; it's another thing to educate, because you're educating the whole child. The teaching, you're giving them the curriculum, a laid out plan. But when you educate, you're reaching the entire child. So,
Mike, you got to run that back. You got to run that back for the people that's in the front, back, center, left, and right, and watching the show right now. Say it again for the people. Teaching is different than education or educating. Can you say that again for us?
So, um,
I'm
so
serious. I'm so serious. That was
yeah,
so profound. Listen, you just educated me. You educated the whole person, the Lenore Pores, and I wear a lot of titles, but you just really go ahead, Mike. I'm calm down. But y'all got me on another level tonight, and these comments are popping. So I got to get back to the comments, and then I got to get back to Christopher question before he log off. So go ahead,
yeah.
Mike. Just educate people again. Go ahead.
So again, it's I guess in my mind how I see it is when you educate, you walk in to the school building ready to educate from the time those kids walk into the door.
Mhm.
Um, you can notice the ones who are cranky. You can notice the ones who are crabby. You notice the ones who are, happy-go-lucky. You're like, man, why are you so, why are you so chipper? It's 8 o'clock in the morning.
Right,
Right.
right.
I still gotta get the crust out of my eyes. But but it's I've seen for the past 14 years, I've seen teachers
Mhm.
and then I've seen educators.
Mm.
I've seen teachers who, when they go to the classroom, they're just there to log in, clock in, teach the curriculum, keep the kids out the classroom,
See.
scoot on home.
Mm.
And then I've seen educators, the ones that pour in, the one like Joshua. Um, I've seen like my father, my dad just retired from 16 years as a teacher, as
Mm.
a fifth grade teacher. So I saw my father. I saw him pour into the children. I've
Mhm.
seen Mr. Dawson on many occasions for 3 years, pouring into the child or
Mhm.
suggesting things to do and not to do, and how to behave, how not to do things.
Right.
And that's how you educate. Education is not just you're teaching the ABCs and one, two, threes, because we are created. We have intelligence already built into us, but it's the
Mhm.
molding, just like Joshua said, it's the molding, just like how God does us, but it's the molding of the child, the whole child, and you educate them on how to think, how not to, you don't want to maybe think about that thing, or,
Wow.
you know, it, it, treating other people as being fair,
Mhm.
being kind, being
Mhm.
respectful.
Mhm.
Um, this generation is lacking respect for older adults. So
Yes.
there comes in the power of black males to teach them how to respect authority, how to respect an older adult, how to respect not only the male teachers but also the
Right.
female teachers,
Right.
because just like Joshua said, we were. I gotta laugh at this
Go
because
ahead and laugh.
where there'll be, and we've seen it, and that's why Joshua and I are laughing, is because there'll be a child, a young man who are active in a woman young lady's
Class.
classroom,
Mhm.
and as soon as he gets with myself or Mr. Dawson, it's like a light switch. It's amazing to see, and they just switch up because they know they can't get away with
Mhm.
some of the antics that they could get away with a
Mhm.
female teacher.
Right.
And one thing I do is I call them to the table and I say, look, would you treat your mom that way?
Ooh, I love it.
So now it's not just a walk in the flower field and everything is rosy, but it's teaching them how to deal with life, how to be respectful, because one day they're going to be fathers, one day they're going to be husbands, one day they're going to
That's right.
be mentors. So it's that pouring in, it's that development throughout the years. So being an educator is educating the entire child and not just teaching them ABCs and one, two, threes. That's important, but educating them as well. That's the
Wow.
foundation that you build from there.
I love it. Mike Randall. I just got to call your whole government name. I gotta call your whole government name. Listen, Tip, he'll be pouring on tonight, honey. Along with my brother, they are
Yes.
pouring on tonight. The brother just educated the world about the difference between a teacher and an educator. And you know what's so divine? I'm not even gonna say ironic, but what is so divine is when I created the flyer, with your names on it, what did I identify you all as? Can y'all tell
Educators,
me?
Educators.
Educators. My God from on high. Educators.
not teachers, but
Not
educators.
teachers. Because I could have put
Yeah.
teachers, but just something dropped in my spirit and say, no, educators. And I didn't even know the difference of the two. You need to write a paper on that, a thesis, a blog, and I'll post it on my website. Let me read these comments. My goodness gracious. I have a lot of comments that just came in. So let me find where I was at. Okay. So Sherry stated teachers, TAs, bus drivers don't get paid enough to deal with what they have to deal with. Absolutely, Sherry. And I think we need more people to lobby for these people to get paid because I'm telling you, they are so instrumental in the lives of our young people. All right. Roderick said, wow, this me to see this. I guess he was saying this is, amazing to see the other side of this. Roderick also said, wow, this is good info. We see the other side and the effects that black male educators are truly making. Yes, absolutely. Because I remember Mr. Lucas at Reed Ross, when I went to Reed Ross, they used to call him Joe Clark. That man used to walk that hallway, and whenever somebody called his name or whomever, he'll swing around and he'll throw that arm. He'll look at us like, "What's going on? Who called me? What do I need to fix?" He didn't play. Y'all know Mr. Lucas. He was at Reed Ross for those who may watch the replay. And also my auntie Linda Bryan is watching from YouTube land. Thank you so much for tuning in, Linda, and watching on tonight. Auntie in the house. Auntie in the house. Sherry said, did he call Joshua Bishop Dawson? He did. And Joshua said he's going to block you all. He's trying to stay professional and studious, but y'all going to y'all know Joshua, they say he can relate to the children. So let's keep him in the relatable mode. All right, just saying. All right, Brianna said, wow, I love that. And that was something that was stated approximately about 10 minutes ago when that comment came in. So, Brianna, we know you still loving everything that's being stated here on tonight. Brianna said, it is a true gift to serve as a teacher. It is. And I love how Mike said, hey, we are servants. We are servants. Okay. Get these. And then I got to get Joshua talking some more now. Josh, I got to get you to talk, brother. Sherry said, there is one thing to teach and another thing to educate. You better come on, Minister Mike. She didn't give you a title. I don't know if you have that title, Mike, but she just called you Mike, Minister. You probably are. Okay. Tiff said, you better come on, sing your mic round. The one thing to teach, but another thing to educate. Yes. I'm telling you, Tiff. You said yes. Tiff, he did that. Okay. All right. Christina Tillery said, come on, Mike. There are teachers and then there are educators. Love it. I'm telling you, Mike, please write the blog. I'm serious. Write the blog so we can educate the people. All right. Holder Montavia said, as a teacher,
What?
okay, Holder, we got another male teacher watching on tonight. Yes, he said, as a teacher, I agree. They do they do not fear consequences. All right. Thank you so much, Holder Montavious. Sherry said, you better talk, Mike. So listen, they loving this on tonight. Sherry said, Joshua, them kids scared of Josh. Lord have listen, if somebody
Oh
woke up and they
man.
shaped like Joshua and built like Joshua, shape and built about the same things. And that voice, honey, I get in line too. All you have to do is say, excuse me. Okay, yes, sir. Which way do I need to go? Go back to your class and behave yourself. Okay. He's scared of kids. Sherry said, me and Sam talking back to the TV. Y'all, Sherry is over in the salon getting her hair done, and her and the stylist are talking to the TV. So you know that is a truly special salon. So that's a salon you probably don't want to go to if they're talking to the TV. They need to be talking to each other. But that's okay. That's all right. That's another story for another day. All right. Melissa said, wow, Mr. Michael, Mr. Mike, they calling you Michael on tonight. They call you Michael, but I know your name Mike. But he said, wow, Mr. Michael, I appreciate how you explain on being a teacher and educator from the beginning of pores. I said, hi, teacher. I can see you and Mr. Joshua, real educators. Yes. All right. So listen, y'all, I got some more comments coming in, and I hope I capture everybody. Wilma said, this is amazing. I love this. Okay, Darrell is on. Darrell, y'all, if y'all didn't see Darrell on the last podcast, go back. It's probably about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks maybe. Darrell was on, and listen, the brother poured. Okay, he said, "Wow, black male educators are needed more than ever." He's over on LinkedIn land. He said, "Not just in the educational space, but in the community. Salute to you, men. Great job as always, Lenora. My God." My good God, laugh out loud. Love it. Thank you so much, Darrell. Y'all, listen, y'all got a link with Darrell too. Darrell is a heavy hitter in the RTP area. Let me tell you, it's so many of you all, but you're just scattered abroad. But I'm telling you, if y'all can put y'all talents and gifts together and join forces, I'm telling you, y'all will make an even greater impact. Notice what I said, even greater, because you're already making a great impact. I said you're making even greater. You will make an even greater impact. Mabel Williams said, "Good talking." Sherry said, "I'm weak, honey. I hope you are weak." Y'all talking to the TV. All right. Byron Bryant said, "Your aunt is proud of you, Joshua."
Thank you,
So
Auntie.
your auntie is proud. Courtney Tillery said, "Teaching is a job. Educating is an investment." You
Mm,
better come on here, Courtney. Somebody need to pin this on Facebook and tell the world that Courtney Tillery just said, "Teaching is a job. Educating is an investment." Absolutely, absolutely. Courtney, definitely agree. So y'all know what I got to do. I
mm-hmm,
got to get back up here to Christopher comment. Y'all know he had a question, right?
mm-hmm.
So we want him to join us again. Hi, y'all agree with that? Y'all,
Absolutely.
all right. So let me go back to his question. This is what he said. "I would love to hear more from the guests about how to address discipline disparities and the achievement gap." Mike, you want to take a shot at that? And then we're going to go over to Joshua.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah, this is so. It's a very real thing. But it's also troubling in a sense of administrators tend to discipline based on race, um, favorites, um, family history. Knowing the parents,
Mm,
um, and so what that does for a young black male is it sets up what happens outside the classroom
mm,
to what's happening inside the classroom. So
wow.
and we know the school to prison pipeline, and so when
Mm-hmm.
you discipline a child
Hmm.
and that is their experience, whether it's a cousin, brother, father, whatever the case may be. But when they see that and they go into the classroom and they're treated just the same, nothing can get through as far as information because
Mm,
now that wall is up, stress has now manifested itself in that child. It's kind of is built up, and so you go from
mhm,
trying to teach discipline instead of giving them resources,
mm.
mentoring them because you can discipline a child. We can do that left and right.
Right.
But when you discipline them, give them the reason why you're doing it and how they can help them later
Mm,
in life.
love it.
So administrators are not, they are, I think that there's a lack of empathy
Hmm.
because administrators they have a job to do. And I thank God that I was able to intern as an administrator for a year to see
Hmm.
it from the other side. So that disparity, I mean, just addressing discipline, it's a wide gap
Right.
between black males and black females compared to uh, white males and white females,
Hmm.
minorities in general. So um, we have to have more talks like this
Right.
with administrators to say, look, we have to be mindful of when we discipline. Don't just give the discipline and then send them off to the classroom or send them home.
Right.
Give them and the parents some resources. kind of coach them along the way, something to help them understand, the child to understand, okay, I'm not being punished for because I'm bad.
Right.
It's because I did something wrong. I made a mistake, and now I
Mm-hmm.
have the suggestions, the resources to make a better decision.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that falls in with the achievement gap. And so, with the achievement gap, and we know the achievement gap is very wide compared to Caucasian children to minorities, and
Mm-hmm.
that plays into the discipline.
Right.
So, it's for me when I what I've witnessed, and the principal at Reed Ross, Larry Parker, he is one of the best, if not the best, administrator that I've been under and served under, because he showed how you can discipline a child for what the mistake they've made, but he'll also pour into them. And that's what I saw. And it made a difference in the child to the point where
Right.
they would come back and say, Mr. Parker, I appreciate, you talk to me. And the same thing with Mr. Dawson. I've seen it time and time again.
Mm-hmm.
He would discipline a child and he would never belittle them. He would never put them down. He would give them uh, suggestions. Let's not do this next time.
Right.
Let's do A, B, C, and D to correct that behavior.
Right.
So so to Mr. Gregory's point about addressing discipline disparities and the achievement gap, I think it all falls in line with having empathy,
Mm-hmm.
understanding the disparity, and then working to remove that. So,
Mm.
and how we can remove that, how I'm thinking about it and how I believe it is to empathize with them, and then sit them down and have a conversation with them. Not just Don't just give them the consequence and then just walk away from it.
Right.
Give them the consequence, tell them what they need to do. You may walk away from it, but the next day, just like Mr. Dawson said, it's a brand new slate. And so there has to be a sense of maturity from the administrative uh, position, where they're not taking it personal, or they're not
Mm-hmm.
holding a grudge against the child, because again, we don't know what that child is dealing with.
Oh, I love it. I love it. That was good. That was good. Don't Let me just stop. Okay, go ahead, Joshua. I want you to chime in
Mr.
on this.
Randall, he pretty much hit the nail on the head with what he just said, because
Okay.
I look at what I do now in the school, like the school system.
Okay.
I would say it's the lack of funding that they're giving to schools to work with. And
Mm.
so if we had more of funding, we'd be able to bring in more people to help work in different areas. But
Mm.
when they only give you a certain amount, you have to split what everybody's making in certain areas. So like
Mm.
what I do multiple jobs in the
Mm.
school under like one title.
Right.
So I get pulled from this, that, the third, on top of, still trying to educate the kids as well. Like
Right.
what Mr. Randall was saying, like the gap that's in between, because you have different social economic groups. And no, you got different
You better
schools,
listen, brother. You better go ahead.
right?
Go ahead.
So you got different schools are located in different districts. So this school is dealing with this this many hoods in one school, and then you have certain schools from they would
Mm-hmm.
say the middle class, because middle class, like they said, is really the lower of the high class. So
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, you're dealing with two different groups. But at the end
Mm-hmm.
of the day, some of the higher you know socioeconomic groups deal with the same things like some of the lower economic groups
That's
in
true.
their house. So I would say like what Mr. Randall was talking about, how you have to definitely sit them down and let them know why you're in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't, they just think, oh, he just getting on me because he mad. He's just picking
Right.
on me. So like what they do, they take that, they build up that wall. So every time they see you, or like they saying kids turn, they won't smoke with you every time they see you. So every
Mm.
time they see you, I ain't trying to hear what you got to say. Don't even talk to me, Mr. Dawson.
Mm.
I'm not trying to hear you. So when they come to
Wow.
class, they already have their mind made up. I'm about to cut up. write me up, send me home. And so at the end of the day, you have to figure out what can I do to breach that gap with this student.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, some of them be wanting to go home. Because at the end of the day, there's nobody there to watch them. So they're watching themselves. Because the parents have to go work, or some of them, they just don't care. So at the end of the day, it's like meeting them there, seeing what the problem is, and figure out, like Mr. Randall said, the resources that you can get. Because
Mm-hmm.
I'll be wanting to do a lot, within the school
Right.
system. Back then, that when you have multiple jobs, is finding the time to do it in
Right.
the, I guess, the classroom schedule, or the time that you have within them
Right.
hours. Because
Right.
a lot of things that might happen the day before might not happen that day. Like you say,
Right.
it swaps. So at the end
Right.
of the day, it's like reaching them. And that's the
Right.
thing you have to. When you reach them
Mm.
on their level, and like I would say this, I really try to drill, I would say,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
young black boys. I really try to drill them because I tell them you're built with strikes already.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, I tell them you're black, you're a male. So that's two strikes already. I'm telling
Mm-hmm.
you that because I experienced this stuff, even being in the education, or the education system. When I step out these doors, I'm a black male. So at the
Right.
end of the day, you might see me, oh, this Miss Dawson Holly go jolly, but at the end of the day, I have to live my life at the end of the day when I walk out these doors. So at the end of
Right.
the day, I tell them I can relate to certain things, like you said, certain things you can relate to, and certain
Right.
things you can't relate to. But
Right.
at the
Right.
end of the day, you have to have empathy. You have to know the right words to say. And
Right.
like it's also black females. You got to know how to communicate with them as keeping on a professional level as
Mm-hmm.
well. And at the end of the day, like I know Mr. Randall always taught me, like when I first came in there, it's like if you ever talking to a student, leave the door open. Because at the
Oh.
end of the day, nobody could say, well, he was in here talking to this person one on one and the door was closed. Or they say have
Right.
somebody there with you when you
Right.
talk to someone. That's why we almost like yin and yang. When we team up, he have somebody there that can vouch for what happened, in the conversation or what happened in the classroom. So you also
Right.
gotta be smart and have common sense when dealing with a
Mm.
lot of situations. And so
Mm.
when you're dealing with discipline, you have to use common sense because at the end of the day, you have to protect yourself as well. And once you meet these or
Mm.
breach these disparities, you can focus on that achievement. And sometimes you can do both of them at the same time. So once you
Mm.
figure out where we're going wrong and what's the resources that we need, we can reach out to those kids inside and outside, find them outside resources that the parents can do on their own. Because at the end of the day, we can only do so much. But at the end of the
Right.
day, the parents have to meet you halfway. It's like
Right.
a race, like a relay. I can only hand you run so far with the baton and give it to you for you can take it home, finish the race, and bring it back
Mm.
to me in the morning. So that's my
Right.
view on that, Mr. Gregory.
Wow, love it. Love both of y'all's input. It was amazing. And Joshua and Mike, we're going to talk about the baton. We're going to talk about the baton, but let me tell y'all something. These comments are rolling over here to the right. And if I don't read these people comments, they may send me an inbox. So let me go ahead and read these people comments over here on tonight. Sherry Dawson said, you better let my big baby Josh say something else. Sherry, I did. He just had a 5-minute monologue and I ain't even interrupt. So I need you to kind of pipe down just a little bit and talk to your stylist while he's doing your hair, please. Okay. Now, Christopher said, what I am hearing is that in regards to discipline, the relationship between administrators and family is critical. In the absence of family, mentoring advocacy is even more important. And that's why I want to talk about this baton Christopher, because this is absolutely correct. And then you also added here restorative practices. That is so, so true. Christopher said, thank you, Mike. Randall, Sherry is sending y'all some hand clapping emojis there. And I guess she ran out of words and she didn't put anything there, but I just had to flash that on the screen. I can't believe she became mute on that and couldn't type anything. But then she bounced back. She bounced back real fast and she said, I'm so proud of my brother Josh. I just want to share some happy tears. Honey, please dry those tears. Please dry them up, okay? Christopher said, what a paradigm. Some of them want to go home because there is no one there. Listen, Joshua, drop that. And that was powerful. Let me tell you something, Mike and Joshua. You men tonight, I'm gonna have to bring y'all back. That's all I'm gonna say. I'll bring you back after the school year start. and and you know what? I want to hear the story, the after story, okay? But listen, y'all are phenomenal. I just want to tell y'all that we're running over time, but we're gonna hit right at 8:15 and then we're gonna close out the podcast. But I just want to talk about the parents in just a little bit. Tiff said, well said, Josh and Mike, empathy, more funding as well as understand socioeconomics. As Christopher Gregory said, restorative practices. Absolutely. And we also have another comment. Sherry said, Lenore Dawson Lasser, I know you're proud of your brother. Yes, I'm very proud of him, Sherry. And I'm very proud of his yin to his yang. Mike Randall on tonight. These gentlemen are doing an amazing job. Christina said, Mr. Dawson, my 14-year-old son, Joshua, is listening. And he said, Lord, it's just touched my heart. But let me tell you, Miss Christina, I can't cry on here because the faces that I make, notice I said faces, they won't look good on the replay. So I'm just going to go ahead and read this and just allow my heart to just cry on the inside without it coming up through my throat and into my face. But it says, again, I'm going to read it. Mr. Dawson, my 14-year-old son, Joshua, is listening, and he said he loves what you said. You have to sit them down and explain why they're in trouble. You remember when your mama and your daddy said no, and they used to say, because I said so, and you're like, why? Because I said so? No, please start explaining. And that's what you both were saying earlier. Explain to them why they are being disciplined. And not only explain them, but give them a solution. Say, hey, this is how you need to handle that the next time. Right? It's like a performance, a improvement plan, a PIP that they give educators if they need to improve in their area of education or whatever. If you're on a job, whatever, they give you a PIP. I think I'm saying that right. PIP, performance improvement plan, something of that sort. So it makes a difference. Brianna said, I am seeing another side tonight. Wow, Joshua, I knew it. I knew you had it in you. And she did a little emojis with the hand. Sherry Dawson became mute again. I'm gonna need you to put some words in these comments and just not send me these blank statements here. But I think you came back with something here. You say you better say so, Brianna. Wilma said, very smart, cuz Joshua. Christopher said, great input. I definitely agree, Christopher. Very, very good input. Listen, gentlemen, I know you all are probably hungry and you're probably thirsty, but I gotta ask you this question. How important is it, Joshua and Mike, that parents realize that this education is a relay race with their child, that they need to take the baton and they need to become part of this relay team with their child? Talk about the importance of parents being involved in their child's education. Mike, you want to take it, and then Joshua, go ahead, Joshua.
Okay.
Whichever one want to go, it doesn't matter.
Okay. I use, like Mr. Randall said earlier, sports.
Mm-hmm.
The same way I tell a couple of them, the same way you push your child when it comes to sports and the support you have for your child when they're playing sports, you need to have that same support when it comes to school. I tell the kids the same way. Like we say, we try to relate sports along. If we find something that they love and try to relate that with education.
Okay.
Same thing with parents. We
Mm-hmm.
try to meet them. Our main thing, like our administrator tell us to don't just reach out when they're doing bad. Call home when they're doing good.
Okay.
And so at the end of the day, because some parents they have the school on block because they know their child's always getting in trouble.
Say it
Our
ain't so, Mr. Dawson. I got to call you
yes,
Mr. Dawson. Say it ain't so, Mr.
they
Randall. They block y'all
they block
numbers.
they block the school. They block the
Uh,
school number because sometimes I would say some teachers call for everything, and sometimes some things don't need to be. Sometimes teachers don't need to call home. There's some things you can fix right there. Just like there's a
mm,
lot of stuff you can fix in the classroom without having to get administrator involved. But back
mhm.
to what we were talking about the parents and the relay.
Okay.
But the main thing is, like I say, the parents have to meet us halfway,
Mm-hmm.
and that is a, I will say, achievement gap. What Mr. Gregory was talking about earlier. That's a
Mm-hmm.
gap that we're facing every day. It's
Mm-hmm.
hard to get the parent involvement in school. So the
Mm.
only time you hear from them is when their child is in trouble and they want to come
Mm.
up to the school and show they're behind. So as they say,
Mm. Yes, what they
but
say. Show they behind. I just had to say it too because I felt it in my shanana now. Go ahead.
right. So, but at the end of the day, if they can pop up at the school to show they behind when the child is in
Mm-hmm.
trouble, why can't you pop up and meet us for a student parent teacher conference where we're trying to help your child? We taking out time to let you know this child need help with this, that, and the third,
Mm-hmm.
and what we can do about it. But at the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes they're not trying to hear it. I know parents do work; they have to provide for their family.
Right.
But at the end of the day, your child education is very important as well. So at
Right.
the end of the day, you have to meet us halfway,
Right.
and that's the part of the relay. You have the teachers, you have the TAs, you have
Mm.
the parents, and you have the administrator. It's all a
And the
circle,
bus drivers.
and the bus drivers. Because at the end of the day, the bus drivers are the first people you see in the morning. So whatever
Mm.
they say to you can trigger out how they gonna walk in them doors. So they, like Mr. Randall say, you got different behaviors, you got different moves in the morning. So you're the first thing you have to break the ice with that. And
So since
sometimes,
both of you all, sorry Josh for interrupting you.
mhm,
So since both of you all are men of faith,
mhm,
I know y'all men of faith. Joshua, you go to church with me almost every Sunday. Mike, I know you down there going to church too down in Spring Lake. But the bus drivers are like the ushers,
mhm,
if I want to use that analogy, right?
they
Okay,
are.
Right.
continue,
Yes,
Josh. I
sir.
hope I ain't mess up your train of thought. I just had to
No,
throw that
no,
in there.
like you said, that they are the ushers. At the
Hmm.
end of the day, if they get in trouble on the bus, the attitude they're gonna bring in the church.
In the classroom.
So they gonna bring in the church. Then we will teach the church in the class. We'll teach the school is like the church. So they coming in with some state
So
Oh
attitude.
my God.
So at the end of the
that's
day,
so
that's when you
true.
gotta have the deacons and the pastor to talk to you when you get there. So at the end of the day, that's basically that's if you want to use that
Gotta
as a
keep my
parody
composure.
or parable right there. That's basically what it is. It's like we have to meet each other. We have to make the world go around. We have to meet each other because at the end of the
Mhm,
day, if we like you say, if it's only one sided and we're only like we said, we only can do as much
mhm,
as we can. Because once
mhm,
that time is up between 7 to 2:30, and most of the time, even with phone calls, you're not gonna get a phone call through these parents sometimes.
mhm,
But it's like you have to want the best for your child. And if you want the best for your child in other areas, you should want the best for your child in education as well. So that's my view on that.
I love it. I love it. Go ahead, Mr. Mike. I know you ready to pour on this question. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I just love the comment. I love the Usher and Deacon comment.
Ooh, me too. I'm so tickled.
I almost lost it on that one.
It's all right. That's the
But
thing about my show. We can just feel free.
yes, absolutely, absolutely. But I agree with Mr. Dawson. We're the ones that uh, when a child comes from home to the bus to the school, we have to initially put the fire out, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever is going on, we gotta. Okay, it's gonna be all right. You're gonna have a better day. It's from a teacher to parent relationship. It's a school community,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what I've learned recently in this past year
Mm-hmm.
in my program at FSU, Fayetteville State. The school community is not just the teacher and the students, but it's the teacher
Mm-hmm.
and the students, the teachers in the classroom, the TAs, the cafeteria worker, the bus driver, the custodian, you name it, and and you have the parents and the administrators working there as well. So
Right.
the parent to educator relationship is crucial, because we're the ones that are communicating with the parent to say, hey, this is what's going on. This is the behavior I see.
Right.
This is what happened. This is how I fixed it, or
Mm-hmm.
how I addressed it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when they get home, this is, so for me, I don't necessarily say this is what you need to do, because, you can do what you need to do with your child. So,
Right.
if you go put them on a video game for the rest of the day without doing homework or studying, then, we can't have we don't have any input into that.
Right.
But that relationship is so important. Even administrator to parent relationship is crucial, because it lets the parents know their child is safe. It lets the parent know, okay, they are in a caring environment. They're in a friendly environment, but they're also in an environment that has order, that has effective discipline, that has positive discipline. So you can have positive discipline and you can have negative discipline. So when you address it the right way, and that goes back to the discipline disparity, when you can separate positive discipline from negative, that lets the child know that they're cared for, even though they may not feel
Right.
it at the time. Deep down, that next day, they come in with a tad better attitude towards you.
Right.
But then in reality, you have situations where it takes the kid maybe weeks, months, or even that entire year until the end of the year, and they come back and they're like, "Well, Mr. Randall, Mr. Dawson, thank you." So it just takes the building of that relationship,
Right.
not only with the student but with the parent. I've had parents that and Mr. Dawson is exactly right. I've seen parents that I won't hear from them until it's report card time, and they're saying, well, he has a D. What can they do? And it's like,
see,
we're out of time. It's the end of the market period. It's at the end of the quarter. There's nothing that we can really do.
Right.
So Mr. Dawson is exactly right, where you call the parent to give positive reinforcement,
Right.
so that it helps the parent, even though in their stress as well. They've had a hectic day at work, and they have to now hear they're wired, if depending on how the child behaves, they're wired, they're ready for, okay, it's something negative. So when you give the parent something, a positive remark about their child, it's that release of, okay, oh, I thought it was something negative. Oh, great. Well, so it's that building of relationship is so important.
Right.
That for all educators and for parents to give reinforcement to their child, ask them how their day went. What mistakes did you make? So they can talk through it.
Right.
And that's what I do in my classroom. Even when I'm meeting with parents, I will let them talk themselves into their solution of the question that they have for me, and I'll let them talk, and they're like, well, okay, well, I'll do this more. I really don't do this as much. I don't sit down with them as much, and so they start really telling the truth of possibly the ingredients that make that child is struggling based on their academic performance. So, it's just important to have that positive relationship with parents.
Good, 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 good. Y'all, listen, y'all. I'm just gonna be honest. We could go on and on and on because it's such good conversation. But I'm gonna read these comments that are here, and y'all, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna have to wrap it up and bring these gentlemen back. I'm telling you because I want to ask y'all some more questions because y'all are like so prolific, so profound, so professional, fun. I mean, just a lot of adjectives, okay, just a lot of adjectives. And believe it or not, these comments came in a little bit earlier, but Sherry said, I'm screaming at the TV, you better go ahead. Joshua Tiff said, yes, Mr. Joshua, love it like a relay. Byron Bryant said, I'm proud of you two men. Sherry said, I'm proud of you, Mr. Mike. Tiff, y'all are a powerful pair. And then she said, thank you, Sherry Dawson. God is good, he definitely is. Bree was stating earlier she agreed with something and she put absolutely, they sure do. And Sherry said, that's right, Josh, that is so true. Everything y'all been saying has been really great thus far. Cheryl said, I enjoyed the conversation thus far. It takes a village to motivate the kids. Good night, family. Good night, Cheryl. Good night. Thank you so much for hanging out with us on tonight. Christopher said, pop up and meet for a parent teacher conference. Mr. Dawson. Oh, see, you getting quoted tonight, Mr. Dawson. You
Okay,
getting
now.
quoted. Sherry said, parents have to do a better job to parent. I definitely agree with that. Get involved. The men just told you tonight. Listen, they need you parents to join this race. They need you to be a part of this race. Christopher said, bus drivers are the ushers. I love it. They sure are. And you know how I was just visualizing in my head and I said, sometimes if bus drivers, if they wake up on the wrong side of the bed, they're not feeling it, kids can be on their way to the bus and the bus driver can close the door on. Like, I'm not letting you in, and then let them in and the child enter with an attitude, just like at the church. They like, you can't walk in, you got to stand in. The people come in with an attitude, and then the deacons and the sisters and the brothers have to try to get the person that attitude, just like the teachers have to get the child from having, the attitude. So it's a lot. I love the analogy. So you can tell we some faith-based people who believe in the Lord, all right, on this show. That's just what we do. That's just what we do. Yeah, I'm telling you, if you don't like Jesus, you don't like the Lord, you don't like God, it's probably not the best place to tune in because we're gonna talk about him. All right. Brianna said, oh my God. She laughed. I think they were talking about this usher scenario. Tiff said, come on, Lenore, like the ushers. Yes, ma'am. Christina laughed on. She said, come on and take us to church, honey. I'll take you to church. And then I have to say, okay, Lenore, you're on your podcast. But it's okay. It's my show. All right. Roger said, laugh out loud. Good analogy, Lenore and Josh. Sherry said, I'm rolling. I hope you didn't roll too far, baby. I hope you stayed in your chair. So I hope you didn't roll out the chair because that hairdo ain't gonna look right. Crystal said, laugh out loud. Sherry again went mute. I don't know why I'm bringing this up, but I just want to say it. She also said the bus drivers have to make sure to smile to welcome them on the church bus. Yes, honey. Because if not, them little saints in the elementary school, they're going to come marching in with attitude. So, yes, we need y'all bus drivers to really go ahead and get you some Dunkin' Donut coffee, some Starbucks or something. Maybe Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks can start donating some coffee or something for the bus drivers, because bus drivers have a lot. They have a lot to do. I
Yes.
mean, they have to get up. Like, what time they have to be at the school?
Some of them have to be there at 5, some before 5. Get the
See,
bus running. They
see
have to
that,
be there
and when
for
it's
the service.
cold too.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus, yeah, we got to do. We as a community have to do better for our people in our community, in the education center, the bus drivers. So I'm learning as I'm listening to the comments and listening to y'all conversation here. Tiff said, awesome, awesome, awesome. I salute you both. Thank you for your dedication. Natisha Wright said, hey, Mr. Dawson. Hello, Natisha. Thank
Because
you so much for tuning in tonight. Christopher said, great conversation. Lenora Ports, I am now following. Yes, Christopher, just spread it abroad. This is one of the best positive out platforms that you can follow and that you can have a really good time. You can get educated. And then we have the most serious conversations. It just depends on the flow of the conversation. All my guests know before we hit the show, we're going to pray before we hit this show. So I just want to let you know, if you ever a future guest, hopefully you believe in the power of prayer, because we're going to pray before we hit the show. We just ask the Lord to guide our conversations. That's just what we just do. That's what we do. All right. So listen, y'all, again, it has been a pleasure. Mike, Randall, Joshua, man, you guys are bad to the bone. Listen, I know you're not perfect individuals. None of us are perfect. Okay. I just want to say that. But I am so grateful that the school system is blessed with men like you, and I hope that you all will influence other men to get an education. And I mean, I don't know if this is a permanent thing for you all. My next question, but we'll talk about that later. What do you where do you all see yourself futuristic within the educational system? But we won't talk about that tonight. We'll talk about that later, because I'm sure you guys have goals. You all have families, okay? But we really need, and I hope a state senator, a congressman, somebody, the governor, city council commissioners, whoever make the rules, y'all, we got to get more funding into the teacher salary. We really do, because they make a difference. And I'm talking about teaching core curriculum, not this other stuff. Okay, that's just me. All right, and the teacher said you're welcome. So again, y'all, thank y'all so much. But let me make an announcement before we close out our show, because Lenore Pours, we have great guests on. So I want to announce this here, on July 5th. You all do not want to miss Kim Person. She is a national recording artist. If I'm not mistaken, I hope I have this right on the flyer. 5-time Stellar Award nominee. Listen, she is on her way to the Stellars, and y'all want to tune in on July 5th. It's the day after you hear all the fireworks that will go on and on. They probably be popping them on July 5th. I pray they won't be doing it in my neighborhood so you can hear the podcast with all clarity. I just want to put that out there. So definitely tune in. Mike, Josh, any final words before we close the show on tonight?
I just appreciate you having me on the show today. And thanks for my brother Mike for accepting the invitation, man. It wouldn't have been like this if I wouldn't have had him on there. So I appreciate you coming through.
Yes. Thank you so much, Josh and Mike. Mike, I've been talking about people calling you Michael, and I just looked down and your name is Michael. So y'all forgive me. Okay, just forgive me. I was just excited. So yes, y'all, his name, he goes by Mike. See, this one y'all have all these code names and stuff. Y'all should just use your just regular name your mama gave you on the birth certificate, your daddy gave you on the birth certificate. But go ahead, Mike. I'm just playing. Go ahead. Just teasing.
So the same sentiments. It's just a privilege to be. It's an honor to be a part of your podcast, and I appreciate it. Thank you. Mr. Your brother is a powerful young man. We have spoken, about different, other topics, and I see nothing but greatness in Mr. Dawson. And I told him that I think maybe the first few months, maybe, and we were talking in the cafeteria, and I see a true heart for people in Mr. Dawson. So I appreciate you, Mr. Dawson, for the invite and for just sending the invitation, man. It's an honor, man. So it's a true brother, man, true brother. So I appreciate Mr. Dawson and you, Lenora. Appreciate you for the great impact that you have and are having in this community and for the entire world. So thank you.
Thank you all so much again, y'all. It was a pleasure. I had fun. Can y'all believe y'all been on here an hour and 28 minutes? Don't even seem like it, does it? I think this has been one of the longest podcasts of this season. I have to go back and recap, but I really do think it has been one of the longest ones. But it has been a pleasure. It has been amazing. I'm sure you guys both will be back later on, hopefully before the season end. But if not, we have to pick you up next season. But again, Joshua, Mike, thank you. Tiff, thank you for lending us your husband for this hour and 29 minutes on tonight. It has been a pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure y'all follow me on all social media platforms at Lenora Pours. And you're going to see my outro video. So if you need a speaker, if you need life coaching, if you need career coaching, I'm a certified professional life coach. I'm a certified professional resume writer. I'm a realtor. I wear multiple hats. That's why I'm known as the people builder. And that's why I'm known as Lenora Pours, because I pour in many ways. And just always remember this, y'all have to remember. You were born for a purpose, and that purpose is to pour into the lives of others. And Sherry Dawson, I'm just going to flash this on the screen so that the world can see it. That is why we didn't pay you no attention. Somebody should have told me. I mean, I would have taken it. Hey, his name is Michael. See, the thing is, when you are on this end of the screen, one thing you will learn as a podcaster, when you have a show, you can't necessarily look down, okay? Reading that way. I have to look at the camera, okay? But thank you, Sherry, for telling the world that I didn't pay attention. You know, I am human. I did say that we're not perfect, but I love you anyway. We need more Mr. Michael and Mr. Joshua. Yes, we do. We definitely do. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all, it was a pleasure. Let your children watch this podcast. Sit down and share it with your nieces and your nephews and your cousins and your aunts and uncles. Administrators, I hope you all watch it. Bus drivers, I hope you watch it. TAs, I hope you watch it. And y'all, we can't forget about our janitors either. They do an amazing job in keeping our school clean. We can't forget about the cafeteria staff who feed these children every single day to make sure they have nutritional meals. I'm not sure if they still have the Mexican pizza like when I was in school, but I know y'all getting some type of pizza. Until next time, you all take care. I hope that you enjoyed tonight's porn session as much as I did. Listen, please share with your family and your friends. And if you want to find out more information about Lenore Pours, please visit our website, www.lenorelasser.com, to find out how I and our team can partner with your organization or to partner with you. I look forward to hearing from you. Until next time, remember, you are born for a purpose, and that purpose is to pour into the lives of others.